Yeah, well, we got to get pucks in deep, we got to cycle real hard, keep our sticks on the ice, and good things will happen, eh? What, you think I'd go a whole year without reviewing an NHL game? Of course not! EA, you're not getting away that easy. This year's edition of EA Sports NHL franchise is actually one that has restored the franchise to where it once was. Finally, adding in all the features and some extra stuff that we were looking for so desperately in NHL 2015 and NHL 2016. Features and all that extra game modes and stuff is great, but really the most important thing in a sports game is the actual gameplay while playing the sport. In NHL 17, it's almost exactly the same as NHL 16, but with a few additions. The gameplay feels smooth and you feel in control, similar to how you did in NHL 16. They haven't strayed too much from the formula that seemed to really work last year. But the additions that they've made don't really do much to add to the gameplay, and they still haven't fixed nagging issues that have been in NHL games for years. The poke check and stick lift are pretty much useless. It doesn't even matter if you connect with it, because the AI gets the puck right away again. Like, why do I even bother? Gostad. Poke check.
And it works.
Poke check. He gets it right back.
But he doesn't even, Gostad doesn't even try to possess it.
Poke check, gets it right back, immediately passes it to this guy.
And it's tape to tape.
To this guy, who then sends it over, cross,
in an awkward backhand
by this guy. This guy doesn't do anything. By this guy. And that guy slap shots it like this.
Like at the end of the motion.
Look at that. If he actually connects with that, that's going right there. But no.
That's heading to Tim Hortons.
But no, it, bam, goes right there.
And of course our goalie is just nowhere.
The only play style that's really worth anything is a dominant, physical, hard-hitting style of play, knocking the enemy completely over so that you have plenty of time to get the puck and they can't recover. That's about the only way that you can take the puck away from the computer other than letting them take a shot at your goalie. In the NHL 17 beta, EA Sports experimented with, changing the effectiveness of the stick check and the stick lift. But I guess they just said, F it. We'll just go back to the way it was in NHL 16. This is too hard. Like, come on, guys. Having said that, though, playing a real bruiser-style, physical, intense brand of hockey in this game can be a lot of fun. The animations when you lay a big hit or crush someone into the boards are hilarious and are just awesome to execute. I'm like a f***ing wrecking ball out there, eh? I just go around looking to nail the shit out of anybody I can get even close to. Take penalties, injure them, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm there to lay the body, and that's all I'm here to do. The in-game presentation is pretty similar to NHL 16 and NHL 15. The graphics are very similar, not much improvement has been made. The announcers are the same with most of the same dialogue options. There are a few new ones, but it still ends up feeling repetitive, hearing the same comments over and over again, especially when you're playing with a created team or a created player. They don't have dialogue options for new players into the game, so it's the same stuff over and over again, which is a bit unfortunate. Overall, the gameplay in NHL 17 feels very similar to how it did in NHL 16, which was a strength for NHL 16. It was one of the better aspects of that game, but the additions that maybe fans had hoped for or looked forward to or that had been hyped don't make that much of an impact, and some of the same nagging problems stick around. So overall, I'd say it's about the same as NHL 16. All fans of the NHL series of games will remember the disaster that was NHL 15, taking away all of our favorite game modes and extra features and all sorts of that extra stuff that fans of the series love to see improved on and added in new games. And thankfully in NHL 17 we see most of the stuff that we expect returned and done fairly well. The Be a Pro mode is vastly improved with a few minor tweaks that actually go a long way to make it a game mode that's worth playing. Instead of accumulating experience for your pro based on your performance in the game, and you can assign that experience to any of your attributes, you accumulate experience based on how well you perform at those specific attributes during the game. So for example, if you snipe a goal, your wrist shot accuracy will improve. This is a huge improvement to the game, making it actually worth experimenting and trying new things in the game to improve your skills, rather than just doing the same thing over and over again to level up whatever the hell you want. The coach's feedback has been vastly improved to previous editions of the game, making it actually understandable what your coaches want to do. They give you tips, there's detailed feedback about certain things that you did right or wrong, and the team play, defense, and offense scores that you get actually make some sort of sense. They go up and down when you do certain things that actually make sense to those categories. It's not just super easy to get an A+ at offense if you're a sniper. The coach will want you to score more than a few goals to get an A+, which makes sense. Thank you. But again, the major problem with the Be a Pro mode is that, okay, playing these games is great, it's awesome, well done, yay, but what's the point? You build up to win the Hart Trophy, the Conn Smythe, you win the Stanley Cup. Who gives a shit? There's no results. You just improve your player to what end? There's no end. At least in games like NBA 2K, who've really taken a hard look at their My Player mode, give you a reason to work towards something. You're rewarded in the form of cutscenes, extra score to help improve your player, things like that. In NHL, it's just basically the same, playing games over and over and over again, which gets old really quickly. Gosh! My teammates are a bunch of idiots!
Sorry, boys. Sorry, boys. I didn't mean that. You're a bunch of beauties, but we lost.
The Be a GM mode, the franchise mode, is also somewhat improved from NHL 16. The addition of the ownership aspects of the franchise mode do a little bit to, make it worthwhile to play through this mode longer than a few years or play a few games. The owner's goals actually give you something to kind of work towards and some direction on what to do. Thank you, owner, for telling me what to do and what you want so I don't get fired. But really, it's so shallow. The goals are often easily completed, and the cash that you get is irrelevant. It's material. There's no use to it. 20 grand when your budget is over $74 million? Like, thanks, but I'm gonna need a little bit more. I am being a little bit nitpicky on the franchise mode. It has been improved. It is a fun game mode to play, but it does have some serious flaws that I'm just so surprised haven't been addressed. There are multiples of a couple of players. John Scott, for example, there's 2 of them. Why? How does that make sense? How do you not figure that out? I found it so easily. Search by players, by aggression, or body check. And there it is, 2 John Scotts at the top. It's ridiculous. How is that not fixed? How do you screw that up? What?
No, that's a copy. They have the exact same stats. Broken. Wrong. Wrong. Sign them both.
Oh my God!
Sign them both.
There's 2 John Scotts.
We'll take them all.
What a broken f***ing game. They're gonna be on the same line. John Scott. Over to John Scott.
One John Scott's gonna get more money than the other John Scott.
Wow, that is too funny. NHL, your f***ing game's broken, bud. And the same exploits that existed in NHL 16, 15, and so on, all of them. The way the draft pick system works is ridiculous. Their value is so high, which is great, but the return when you actually draft these players is much lower than the draft pick's worth when you still have it. So what I ended up doing was accumulating all these draft picks, which increased in value as you got closer to the draft day, but then I traded them all away and had a sick team in 1 year. 1 year I turned a shitty team into a sick team? I shouldn't be able to do that. There should be ways that I have to be smart and actually make smart trades and develop players if I'm a rebuilding team. Okay, maybe a few of you out there are saying, listen Garrett, the Be a Pro and Be a GM mode, nobody plays those anymore. It's all about the online modes. And you know what, in some ways that's true. That is the trend in the way things are going. And truthfully, NHL 17 does a good job of these. The Hockey Ultimate Team and EA Sports Hockey League modes are 2 of the better modes in the game and frankly really hold this game up. The Hockey Ultimate Team mode is very similar to how it was in NHL 16. They have made a change where you can trade in unused cards if you've completed a set to, get new players or new cards and stuff like that, which makes sense, thank you, so I don't end up wasting all these cards. But the game mode is pretty much the same, but it was a strong point of NHL 16, so I'm not too surprised they haven't changed things up that much. The EA Sports Hockey League as well has gotten some upgrades from last year in the form of some new player customization options, arena customization, as well as unlockable celebrations that you can see your player execute when they score a sweet goal. These two online modes are really the strongest features of NHL 17. Playing against other players make things interesting. You don't have the AIs, control things that really mess things up. But really, when it comes down to it, the gameplay still exists in this same old engine that they've used for the past couple of years, which, don't get me wrong, is good and fluid and you feel in control, but the nagging issues are still there in all modes. It's unavoidable. There are some other modes as well that they've added in, like the Draft Champions or the World Cup of Hockey. Those are kind of pointless to me. Thank you for adding them in. Great. There's probably some players out there who like to play those, but for me, those are kind of like, forget about them. Compared to NHL 16, NHL 17 has made some improvements. They've upgraded the different game modes and definitely made some effort to improve their game overall. Really, for me, what's frustrating is some of these same nagging issues in the gameplay still exist that I would really like to see fixed, hopefully in NHL 18. Hopefully give us a reason to actually use poke check and stick check, and having the AI at higher levels stop just getting the puck or making it impossible to take it away from them without giving them a free shot at the net. The improvements and additions to this year's version of the EA Sports NHL franchise are welcomed and are appreciated. They do a little bit to improve the game overall, but for me, it's not enough. The small improvements year after year, it just seems like a waste to me. Why don't you take 2-year cycles to really improve the game and show us something special rather than spending all the time updating the rosters and stuff like that with minor improvements year to year. It just doesn't change the game enough for me from NHL 16 to NHL 17 to really warrant purchasing the game. So for that reason, my final verdict for NHL 17 is a 7 out of 10. It's a pretty good game. If you've been waiting to jump back into the NHL series of games, now is a good time to do it. They fixed the problems from NHL 15 and NHL 16, and this game is really a solid addition into the series. But if you're a longtime fan and somebody who purchased NHL 15 and NHL 16, I might stay away from this one. The improvements don't really change the game that much, and if you're somebody who likes the Hockey Ultimate Team and EA Sports Hockey League modes, you can still have fun in last year's game if there are still some players playing those games. Well, that'll do it for NHL 17. I gotta thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and maybe leave in the comments some of your opinions about NHL 17. I definitely want to hear them. But thanks again for watching, and I definitely hope to see you next time on Yes Guy Gaming.
Yeah, well, on that last play, Cheesy over there dished me in a nice butter, cross ice. I dipsy dangled, slappy clappy home for the goal,